welcome, ladies. Welcome, everybody watching to this episode of Table Talk. I'm calling it the Moms Edition. And we just thought it would be really valuable to have some real conversations about what we as women, as moms, would be thinking and feeling in this season. You know, we've faced a lot of rapid changes and challenges and concerns over these last few months. And, you know, we just think it's really important to talk about these things. I think we just really want to express that nobody should have to feel alone in this. Yeah. You know, we are in a season of, you know, social distancing and isolation for a lot of people, but just because we're physically, you know, distanced and separate doesn't mean we actually have to be alone. Nobody should feel alone in what they're walking through right now. So, yeah, we thought we'd just have a really good, honest conversation about what it's been like for everybody. So, without further ado, why don't we start by introducing ourselves, just saying who you are, how many kids you have, and what their ages are, and then we'll kind of dive into some questions. Why don't I start over here?
Hey, so I'm Shannon. I have 3 kids. My oldest, Emma, is almost 20, and my middle 2 boys, Matthew is 17, and my youngest, Jordan, is 14.
Awesome. Well, I'm Brandy, and I have 3 kids also. My oldest, Sienna, is 13, and my middle son, Cohen, is 11. They all have birthdays, I have to keep track. Yeah. And then my youngest, Houston, is 9.
And I'm Maria, and I have a baby, and he is 11 months, and his name is Hunter.
Almost a year. It's coming up.
So fast.
Awesome. And I am Desiree, and I have 2 boys, ages 5 and 7. So really, around this table, we kind of have a really good representation of lots of different ages and stages of what we're walking through in this season. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's just jump in. First question. What has been your biggest struggle or challenge in this season, this pandemic? Anyone want to jump in on that one?
I think for me, it's been motivation. Just trying to stay motivated. Sometimes the days can start to feel really long, and then I can tend to just want to shut off or shut in. And so I'm just trying to keep myself motivated with some healthy rhythms and healthy routines so I can stay connected to people. Des and I were talking the other day, and it's been a little hard to stay motivated even to reach out to the people I love. And so that's been a struggle for me, and just keeping a good rhythm and a good routine so I don't slip into complacency.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Maria, how about you? You've got a little one at home.
Yeah.
So
I would say for me has been like the most difficult is connecting with family the way we used to.
Yeah.
So as a family, we like committed to staying a 6 feet distance, and it was right around the time that Hunter started to walk. And so it was just really unfortunate that he can't like run towards them, and you can kind of see like at first like how he knew them and he wanted to go towards them, but like we had to like stop him from going towards them. So like I just wonder like what that even communicates in his own little brain. And so like for me that has been like the toughest, like definitely the toughest.
with the milestones, the big milestones
the big
for him.
milestones, and not being able to connect it with our families and share it the way that they would normally, like, hey, like our baby Hunter, like come, like, and hold him and hug him and see him like run towards them and be able to like hold him and carry him has been, it's definitely been like the biggest challenge.
That's tough.
I think for me, it's some finding a little bit of me time has been really hard. When we're all in the house all the time, there's no personal space. It just doesn't exist. And then I think also sort of releasing myself from like trying to strive for perfection. I just
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
Right here.
I just can't be everything to everybody all the time, and just being able to release that has been really hard for me, I think.
That's fair. I think for me is probably in line with you know, how do I explain things to my kids, and how do I you know, if we're doing things, especially if we're outside Everett has a friend who lives up the road who's riding by on a scooter or a bike, and having to actually tell him, like, no, you can't actually go that close to your friend. You have to keep distance. You can still talk to her, and that's awesome that she's so close. You have that connection, but you have to keep a distance. And now, my youngest, my 5-year-old Kingston, has picked up on that, and the language too. So I'm having to watch my language because he's like, got to keep physical distance, got to keep, what did he say the other day? 6 meters apart. Like, he actually said that, and I'm realizing, oh man, like I'm using the words that we're told and the language that we're hearing on the news or on announcements or whatever. I'm using that language, and they're picking up that language and they're using it, and I just want to be aware of that so that it's not breeding unnecessary fear in them. Because when when we come out of this on the other side, I don't want that to stick. I don't want those things to stick. So those are definitely some big challenges. So then the question is, for those challenges, what are you doing to kind of combat any of the challenges that you're facing? Is there anything that you've done to combat those specific ones that you listed, or just some of the challenges in general? What are some things that are helping you personally cope with this situation? Thoughts? Jen, anything?
I just find that I need to separate myself a little bit sometimes from the kids a little bit, and just allow myself to have some time on my own. I need to get off of Facebook and Instagram and not watch everybody's perfect posts and then judge myself against those. And
it's so funny how we do that side note, right? We post the best, and this is like pre-COVID. It's just such a reality of we post the best, nicest, prettiest, things that make it look like we've got it all together. And again, part of the reason we wanted to do this was to just express that actually nobody really has it all together. Nobody has this figured out. We're all figuring it out together. So can we just remember that what we see on social media is not like
not real.
The
reality.
Full picture. So
I think just allowing yourself to be who you are and not try to measure up to anybody else and just be able to release that.
That's huge. In general, I think not even just to do with this crisis, but such a good thing for us. I feel like us as women and moms, we just live in that comparison factor so easily.
Totally.
For sure.
So
For me, dealing with my motivation, I'm not a structured, scheduled person by nature at all. I'm very scattered most of the time, but I get by.
I hear you.
But in this season, actually, I found I really needed to set some more structure for the home, especially for the kids and really for myself, and just have those healthy rhythms and routines so we're not neglecting the important things. And honestly, that's really helped. And the other thing that's really helped me is a long time ago, I heard someone say to get after grateful, and that's become my anthem in this season. Is just every time I feel overwhelmed or stressed out or fearful or anything, I just take a minute and find some gratitude. And I've been telling that to my kids too. Just get after grateful, guys. Things are hard, but we're just going to get after grateful and stay thankful, because truly we have everything we need. We're very fortunate in that way. So not everything's convenient, and that doesn't always take away the frustration, but it definitely helps to adjust our perspective, just to keep our perspective right and fixed on the right things. So
I like that. Get after grateful.
Get after grateful.
I think my son reminded me of that one night because he has a bit of anxiety and he just wanted to hang out one night. And so we were hanging out and he just started listing things that he was grateful for. And it was sort of like, okay, I need to be more like that. I need to remember to be grateful for the things we have and express that to him because he's thinking about it,
Absolutely.
And just checking. He was saying things like, oh, our family's healthy, right, Mom? And I was saying, yeah. And then, we have enough food, right, Mom? I'm like, yep.
Yeah. So
just
asking
those questions are, where he was on his mind, and he just needed to talk about it.
And it's interesting. I think sometimes we forget what they're thinking in this situation, and to put ourselves sometimes in their place and think about it from their perspective. And what must they be thinking and feeling?
Yeah.
So that's really good that he was even asking questions.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, for those that don't know me very well, I'm a very social person. I love people. I love having that connection.
Yeah.
I actually I'm not the greatest texter or phone caller. I actually don't like it. I prefer the face-to-face time.
Yeah.
So it's just been difficult, but just to be able to just say you know what, we're living in this season, and I'm gonna make the time to FaceTime my parents every single day, or to FaceTime my in-laws every single day, and that's a way that they can connect with me. They can connect with Hunter in a different way that he doesn't really understand, because he just thinks it's a screen and he just sees himself, and then he gets distracted by the squeaky toy and he goes off. But I mean, it's still something, and it's still a connection.
Yeah.
With friends, I love my friends and I love connecting with my friends, and so Andy came up with this idea of we should Zoom, and we should have all the same game downloaded, and we kind of invite each other to this game, and we'll be Zooming over screen, and we'll be on our phones I don't know, playing Uno or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just been a way that we've been able to still remain connected with our friends, remain connected with our families, and just be intentional in that sense, just because I definitely need that.
Yeah.
And so that's been something that's really helped me cope during this time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
I think we've done the same thing. I think we've tried to utilize technology even on the social side. So friends visits, things like that, but also the same idea. So with, our kids' grandparents, we'll have story time at bedtime with, grandma, or, Grammy will sit and do some homework with one of the boys from the phone, and that just has helped them. They just at least get to see their faces and hear their voices. It's better than nothing. So that's really good. So talking about our kids, let's talk a little bit more about that. And maybe Shannon, you can kick this one off, because we sort of went there already. But how have you been helping your kids deal with the loss of their freedoms and control, and not being in their regularly structured environments, not being around the people, their friends that they're used to being around? How are you kind of helping walk them through that?
I guess we just have to realize that this is not going to be forever, and so I have to keep reminding my kids that this is just a season. It'll be over.
Yeah.
And then I just think that I have to limit how much information my kids are getting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can just feel the anxiety level in them rising. So I have to limit what they see, what they hear, and then my reaction to things, making sure that I'm sort of keeping it under control, or they take their cue from me.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then they get more anxious. So I think just trying to put a positive spin on, at least we can go outside now, or at least we can go to the grocery store together, or whatever it is, just trying to put a positive spin on when we can.
So focusing on the positive aspects rather than all of the negative ones.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Fran?
I think for us, my kids are definitely missing their friends. They're missing school. They're missing their routines. And I'm just walking them through it. There's going to be grief, and they're going to have sadness, and so I'm trying to let them feel those feelings while also steering them towards the gratitude. But I think it's important to understand that they're going to feel grief too, and allow space for that. And then the other thing I was thinking about is the one question you asked. What was it? How do you empower your kids to come up with strategies to cope?
Yeah.
Was actually super convicting, because I was like, I have to model those strategies for them, and I have to be the one who's modeling healthy ways to cope and good ways to cope. And so I'm just trying to be intentional and not missing the teachable moments, not missing the times where they're asking questions, and I'm just trying to be thoughtful with my answers, right? They're at the ages where they want honest answers. They know and understand a lot of what's going on.
They can read behind the lines.
They can read behind the lines, but it's approaching that without instilling fear, right? And reminding them that God's got this, and we still serve a God who is over all of these things, and walking with that knowledge and with that faith and with that perspective, all while still respecting everything that's at play here, and keep maintaining social distancing with our family, which has been really so hard for the kids. It's tough to watch and see, but I think it's all just about just being very aware and intentional for myself to be displaying those healthy intakes of information, and what am I speaking out over my kids and teaching them, and hoping that it reflects God's heart for them.
I think on that vein, I had read an article, and it was posted by a cognitive behavioral counselor, and she was just talking about the fact that, you know, on the line of what we say and what we how we're listening. She just said she's finding that a lot of kids, anxiety even comes from the idea of using the phrase, "This is the new normal."
Right.
I don't know, you've probably heard that somewhere, and maybe you've even used it. I know I have, not in necessarily that way, and I don't know if they've even heard me use it, to be honest, but that in itself had me stop and pause and think, like, we really need to be thinking about what is it, what words, what language we're using, because some of it is too much for them to be able to cope with. They don't need to think about it in terms of, this is how it's going to be forever. They don't necessarily have a frame of reference for, no, this is the new normal for now, and we're not necessarily thinking about it when we're talking about it like that. But everything that we say, they take as truth, and this is how it's going to be. And so even hearing that had me stop and pause and think, okay, the language that I speak is really, really important right now. And from that same article, she really just said, rather than calling it the new normal, what did she say? She just said, talk about it in terms of, this is just for now. This is just for now. Good. So that they're not thinking, you know, this is going to go on forever, but this is just how we have to make things work for now. So it's not such an anxiety builder in them. And then she just said, what you said, Brandy, listening is the key. Listening is the key, and I really like that, because I think that takes the pressure off. I think so often we think we have to have the answers to everything, especially for our kids. We want to be able to give them the answers for everything, but we don't, especially if we don't have the answers. Rather than trying to come up with an answer or answer something on the fly that could actually be more detrimental to their mental health, can we just take on the idea of, like, we just need to listen. And I think I love that, because I that's something I want to carry into the next season. You know, the idea of learning how to listen more, talk less to our kids, because they have a lot to say, and they're feeling and thinking a lot of things right now. So I thought that was really good. So in the same vein with kids, for those who are having to homeschool, or I would rather say do school at home, because I don't know that it's necessarily the full gamut of homeschooling, but doing school from home. How is that going? Good, bad, terrible, challenging? What's how are you feeling about it?
It's very challenging. It's stressful. There's a lot of expectations on parents right now. I think, especially I have a junior high and a high school student. And I cannot help with high school physics. I just am not a physicist.
I had to look up how to do long division.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. I did.
It's so hard. And, I can't be an expert on all things. And so helping them through that and keeping them motivated, it's been really hard. So I give kudos to teachers who do it every day, because every time my son gets out of his chair, I think, I can't do this. Or when he's whistling, or
man, I wish I'd paid attention more.
It's just very challenging.
It's a struggle.
I remember when I first became a mom, I had all those feelings of, like, wow, motherhood is really refining, because it magnifies my selfishness and my rigidity and my inflexibility, if that's even a word. And honestly, I've always sort of wanted to homeschool, so I'm half loving it. But it definitely totally shifted my routine and my sense of normal, and it was an adjustment. And I had those same feelings again, where it was like, okay, this is refining for my character, and Lord, give me patience. And
all
Lord,
the patience
Lord,
right now. All the patience.
Teach me, will I ever learn, Lord, patience? But I think it's just learning to be flexible in my time, my schedule, and just giving the kids what they need, because this is so hard for them too, and our teachers are doing amazing, and it's an adjustment all around. So yeah, it's definitely had its challenges, but I think slowly, at least for us, we're finding some routine that feels good.
I think it's hard on kids too. I don't think they're used to learning this way, and I'm not sure that the online schooling supports all the different learning styles. Absolutely, and so that's a challenge for kids who just don't learn that way or can't learn that way. So I think it's going to be hard for them to do well or to feel successful.
I agree. I think it's not easy. I think it's really important that we as moms, and also for our kids, give ourselves permission to just recognize that this is not easy, and it's not going to be perfect, and we just have to do our best, and instill in our kids that we just need to do our best right now, as best we can, for now, because it's just for now.
That's right.
So last question, and you can continue on the idea of homeschooling if you want, but it's really easy to focus on the challenges and the hard stuff, but what's one positive thing that's happened in your family, for your kids, in the midst of this season? One positive thing.
I don't know that I could pick one. I think the major one is we're spending more time together. We're having sit-down dinners. We're watching church together. We're listening to worship music together. We're doing more, we're playing more board games. We're doing a lot more things that we haven't done together in a while. And I think it's also sort of a reboot for us. It's giving us a chance to sort of think what was important that we were doing and making ourselves crazy before, and that we could probably stop doing now.
It's like a complete recalibration.
It totally is, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote down the same things, the same thoughts. It's time, like the gift of time has been so precious. And especially for my kids' ages, school was hard. For them, junior high is tough, and this break and this breather has actually been like such a gift. And I've just been like, actually, it almost brings me to tears, because I'm so grateful for the time we've gotten to spend together, and the bond my kids are building in this season. Even though there's lots of things that are so hard, there's so much that's been so good. And even within the homeschooling, some of the struggles my kids have had, I've been able to have that one-on-one time with them. Even though I had to Google long division, I have actually been able to
I did that too. I had to Google Venn diagrams.
I know. I don't know these things anymore. But it's so
We're scaring Maria.
I know. I'm sorry.
Can my baby stay a baby?
Yeah, right?
But it's been good to be able to give that one-on-one help and see my kids succeed, even in the midst of this different type of schooling that we're doing. And just the time, the gift of time, it's been so beautiful, and I've really enjoyed that.
I would have to say the time. I think, Andy's always been there, and he's always been very present in Hunter's life since day one. But to now even be at home and having those extra snippet moments where he just oh, I'm on break, I'm gonna go and check on Hunter or whatever. I just see the value in that, and just how even Hunter values that, because he gets so excited every single time he hears Daddy walking up the stairs, and Daddy says, "Daddy's coming," because he always has to make such a huge announcement.
Of course.
I love it.
And Hunter will scream at the top of his lungs, and he'll be so excited. And so just having that extra time of being home, and Andy actually getting to see my routine and what a day as a mom looks like, getting to see Hunter and having those milestones at which before he would miss practically all of them, and so for him to actually be there for those is just so valuable and so great. I think another positive that has come out of this is just the creativity. Just trying to find different ways to do things with Hunter, playing with Jell-O with him one night and getting him to take out all his stuff out of the Jell-O and stuff, and he just loved that. Making that cornstarch gooey, and just getting him to sit in the tub and just get them all messy.
Yeah.
Just finding those creative things, which I don't know if I would have done that before this, because I just have all this time to myself. And before I had that family support, and I had that time to get out of the house and go to the mall. But now I'm like stuck at home all day. So like, what do I do with a baby? Right?
Yeah.
He also gets like really like jittery, and he just wants to do things because like now he's like moving. And so like, what do I do to be able to accommodate those things that he needs and wants and his development? And so just to be creative has been a positive of it as well. So yeah,
It's good.
It's really good. I agree with you. I think the extra family time is such a blessing. And I think, overall time, to have time to be challenged to do things in a little bit of a different way, and to just be a little more conscious of everything that we're doing, what we're saying, what we're thinking with our kids. Well, we could probably have this conversation for a very long time. I think there's a million other things that we could talk about and touch on, but I just want to thank you, ladies, for joining today and starting a conversation. I think that's how I want to leave this. I want to encourage everybody watching to just start a conversation. I think it's really valuable in this time to avoid things like depression and anxiety, and to help steer away from those is just to talk, to maintain relationships in whatever that looks like, whatever way that looks like, and just start a conversation and talk. You don't have to do this alone. You are not alone. For anyone that might feel like they are alone or don't have someone to talk to, we're here. We have a whole crew of people that are available. You can visit scatteredsaints.ca, and there are links there that will help you get connected to someone if you need someone to talk to or to pray with you, or if you need food, because that is an essential right now. We would love to help and support you. And also at the end of this, we're going to hopefully link to a couple of resources available here in Alberta, in case you didn't know that there are so many things available to you, supports and organizations that are available. So thank you, ladies, for this episode of Mom's Table Talk. And it's
good.
have a good one.